And usually hurricane warnings come in within 36 hours before the storm force winds are expected. And that will give people enough time to prepare for the storm or for the hurricane.
The Optimist Show is about news, information, entertainment, and activism. Welcome to the Optimist Show podcast, and we want to welcome all of you wherever you are this time, and thank you very much for joining us as we continue to keep hope alive. The Optimist Show brings you the information as it is, and so we are glad to be with you today so that we can share together. Please like and share, subscribe to our channel, The Optimist Show, keeping hope alive.
Welcome to Carriacou, where traditions, culture, and connections meet. Conscious tours can provide an experience of a lifetime. Getting to know the people and their lifestyles. Visit historical sites. And the taste of a sumptuous local cooking. Enjoy the ride. With Conscious Tours, Carriacou. Providing quality memories. Special and complete weekend packages for up to 7 people are available. For reservations, call 1-473-407-4597. Conscious Tours, Carriacou.
It is indeed a pleasure to be back with you again to continue with this Optimist Show podcast. And of course, one of the things I want to put out front is that we are known and have been recognized for the fact that we present to you accurate and reliable information. All right. So talking about the season that we are into the hurricane season. And in fact, yesterday, the 1st of June, was the official launch start of the hurricane season 2025. And already the predictions are similar to what it was last year, 2024, meaning that this year it has been also predicted is going to be a above average year, above average. Last year was above average, and some of the information shared suggests that we seem to be on a similar path. And this begs me to ask the question, are we genuinely prepared? I'm not saying prepared just because we like to say it, but are we genuinely prepared? And the person who has been described as our climate change and environmentalist, the person who we have done a series of discussions on the whole issue of climate change and those things. And it's no other person than Kennisha Douglas, originally from Carriacou here, but of course is pursuing greater studies, and of course with a view to help us to navigate some of those things that we are faced from time to time. Kennisha, it's nice to see you back again. I must tell you, before you respond, I missed you on the show. We all do. Both Audrey and myself, we miss you on the show, and thank you for coming on to help us again through this journey. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Milton. It's good to be missed. That's all I can say. But due to school and studies, last semester has been a really tough one for me. But thank God I was able to make it a 3rd time on the Dean's list. So, I'm trying to keep that momentum, but it's hard. It's hard.
Did you say you were on the Dean's list?
Yes, I made it last spring, last fall, and this spring. So I have one more to go this fall, and then I graduate officially next spring, 2026. So, and then move on from there.
To your doctorate?
No, I'm going on to my master's.
Okay, probably I'm running ahead too fast, but you'll get there. You'll get there.
Yes, yes. Yeah. But it's good to be back and to talk on a topic that is very much relatable and need to be explored. The last time we met a couple of months ago, we spoke about climate change, global warming, and some of the risk and the effect that it causes or has caused to the region, especially the Caribbean and the wider world in general. And we also looked at natural disasters such as hurricane, which is also part of the things that happen because of this global warming and the disturbance in the climate. Although we know hurricanes have been there for many, many years ago, but unfortunately, it is obvious that the hurricanes are becoming a little more ferocious and fierce and dangerous than before. And one of the things that attributes to that is climate change, global warming. Because one of the things that they have found out is the seawater is being warmer than it should be. And that is a factor that helps to have the hurricane or make the hurricane build up its strength and its intensity. So now we at it again. It just seems like it was only a few months ago Beryl came through, struck the island of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, and also Grenada, because part of Grenada got affected. Union Island, our neighbor up in the north, Canawan, Myra, all these islands got affected one way or the other. Recovery efforts are still ongoing. And now we are back to the hurricane season where it is predicted that it might be worse than 2024. Which brings us to the question, how are we preparing for this season? Have we made preparation? Do we plan to make preparation? Or do we have some strategy in place to ensure or to lessen the impact of what was experienced July 1st, 2024? And if I was to ask that question, I am sure on a scale from 1 to 10, I will get a 9. No, I am not prepared. Because it seems like we forgot. We were just in the moment. Okay, that it happened then, so we focus on then and okay, everything is placed around that moment. But what happened to the after? So it seems that, and I'm not taking it on a government standpoint or so, but I'm taking it more on an individual standpoint. How are we as individuals prepared to deal with the 2025 hurricane season? And when we look at this, there are many things we could do to prepare for a hurricane. We must create a plan. We must create a plan of how we're going to do it. You have to find ways to make sure that you protect not yourself personally, but also your property, your family. We have to make sure we have hurricane kit, emergency kits. We have to make sure that we secure our property. Make sure all your important documents are placed in a waterproof container or whatever it is to ensure that they are not damaged in case the rain come, the wind come, your roof get blown off, water wetting stuff, that your most important document are secure. It also means stocking up on essentials like water, food, medication. At least, as we know here in New York, you need to have at least water for you to drink 3 times per day. So you have to figure out how you're going to do that. And if you haven't done it yet, now is the time for you to try to do that, because you can't wait and say, well, no hurricane will blow in tomorrow or day after. We cannot say that anymore. We have to be prepared. Like the Boy Scout have a motto, be prepared. We have to be prepared at all times. Then we have to stay informed by the alerts and the announcements and all the broadcasts coming from the disaster preparedness management, the weather, the meteorologists, and everything. We have to stay informed about weather warnings. And if you don't have the means of a TV or a radio, whatever, ask someone to please look it up and tell me or tell us what is happening so we could be more informed. So you have to plan ahead. You can't just wait until they come and say, okay, we are experiencing a hurricane is like 400 miles off Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. For then you want to run into action to have a plan. So you have to start planning how you make sure your family is safe. If your home is not secure, where are you going to go to make sure that you're secure? Find out the shelters, where the shelters are. Determine how you're going to evacuate in case you're caught in your homes. What's your backup plan? And now everyone is going by their phones and so to give them all the information. Make sure you have a battery-powered radio. It's essential. So you could get updates as you go along. As I said before, make sure you have water. Make sure you have food, non-perishable food, like canned stuff, stuff that doesn't need too much cooking, or things that you could open, like crackers, things that you could open readily and eat just in case, because there's going to be a food supply shortage. Make sure you have first aid and your medication. All these are things that you have to have in order to be ready. So as one of the main things is to prepare for natural disaster is to create an emergency plan. Make sure that you have some kind of disaster kit, which involves some of the things that I called your medication, first aid. Make sure you have food. Make sure you have water. Stay informed about potential threats. Now it's time to identify the areas in your home that might need to be reinforced. So you identify specific areas that might be at risk. If you have a galvanized or you have a covering that is not put together, now it's time to batten it down or reinforce it as it may be. Now it's time to make sure the gutterings, make sure everything is secure. Because at the same time, not just only damage and loss to property, but lives are also included here. So we have to make sure we have those things and to regularly check and to practice the habit of a plan, keep your documents safe. So some of these things that we have to be able to do in order to combat. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Do not wait until the last minute or the last moment to get these things. Stock up, build your disaster kit. And if you don't know what is a disaster kit is just merely having you could put it in a bucket, you could put it in a bin, something that you could pick up with you and run with. So in that kit, you should always have essential supplies. As I mentioned, food, some water, first aid supply, flashlights, batteries, radio. And you have to make sure that that kit is easily accessible and in a location where you could grab, anything happen, you run, you get it. Somebody got a cut because the wind was blowing too high and something fly and thing, you could do that, until you could get better medical assistance. So these are some of the things that you need to know. Notify your family. Okay, if something is going to happen, auntie, daddy, or whoever have the downstairs or what you might call the first floor, the basement or whatever, well, that is more secure. Everyone is going to be there. Plan ahead. Another thing is, as I said, be informed. Stay tuned to weather alerts, emergency notification. Now it's time to know where is your shelter or where are the shelters. Know all the things before it happens. Here in New York, there is a stuff saying know before you go with the weather, know before it happens. So I just want to touch on that. And also your documents. Keep documents in waterproof bags. Keep it in, if you have a bowl that has a cover or a plastic something or whatever, steel something, store all your essential documents in there. Make sure it's something you carry with you. So that way it prevents it from getting lost and also getting wet and damaged. And also you have to protect your property. You have to take steps to protect your home and your property from damage. You have to secure your windows and the doors. Make sure that it's strong enough to withstand the wind that will come, because we know wind might come how many miles per hour. Make sure that it could withstand that. Make sure that the gutterings, wherever you have gutterings, those are cleared. Make sure that any trees that might be close to your house, from now, try to cut down the overhanging branches as much as possible. Trim them, so that it wouldn't have no effect. Like if the branch break, you're gonna fall and damage your window or whatever it is. So these are some of the things that we have to keep in mind, that we have to prepare. And also, I know, for example, home in Carriacou, a lot of houses are lost and a lot of the insurance coverage might have been affected. But it's now time to check to see if yours is still active. And if it's not active, probably see how you can get it up to date, up to speed. Because God forbid, if another one was to pass, I don't know what it's going to be, because it's like the government is trying their best. And I think, from what I have been seeing and hearing, I have not been in Carriacou since after the hurricane. But from what the feedbacks I'm getting and the photos that I'm seeing, this present administration is working tirelessly to make sure persons have a proper home. And some of the homes that I've seen is even better than what some persons might have had. So they're working tirelessly to ensure that persons get a home where they can be comfortable. So now those are the homes that will just build. Even the whole new homeowners, or the people that get a new home, they build back better and all this, even the prefabricated house, you have a responsibility to secure that home. You cannot say, okay, the government gave you or gave it to you, so they respond. No, you're responsible for what was given to you. So you have to now secure those homes by making sure that you have whatever it is to make sure your windows, your doors and everything like that is secured. So you have to jump into action, have an action plan, take action for yourself. So these are some of the things that I want to talk to. Another thing, I don't know if they have like local emergency alert center in the villages. I think that's what they should probably have. If the government haven't done that before, they should have that. At least every village or every... Sorry about that. Welcome to New York and the noise. Yes, so have a way or area that the villagers or the citizen could go to get local emergency alert and to stay informed about hurricane watches and warning.
Let me come in here, Kennisha, because I think what you are saying, we need to chew on it and digest. They are saying digestion. If you don't chew your food properly, you will have indigestion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to just go back a little bit when you talk about the fact that it's not so much the government's responsibility, but it's a personal thing. When the winds, category 4, 5, 6 hurricanes and winds hit us, it's not the government that will be inside your house. You individuals, you and your family. So the responsibility really is to ensure that you have a family disaster plan. And I want this to be really a serious matter. It's not about them or they. It's about personally taking responsibility to protect yourself and your family. And I don't think we could say it loud enough or long enough to people for them to understand that they have to take responsibility for protection, for protecting themselves. If you know you're living in a swamp area, you don't say the government. You are the ones. You are the ones who live in that swamp area, and you are the ones who would suffer. I mean, they will try. I'm not saying that they don't have a responsibility, but ultimately, when your roof fly out and your windows cave inside and the walls fall, it is you who feeling the pain at that time. So I really think that every single family should have a family disaster plan. So you discussed that before. The young ones, the elderly. You're saying, listen, if this happens, this is what we're going to do. Discuss it, and it can save lives. It can save lives. And so I just wanted this point, whose responsibility it is. Each one of us responsibility, and I think that people should, well, they should know now that we have had the experience. It's not anything new recently. So we know what we have to do, where we have to go. So I really wanted to come back on this point that it is a responsibility that each of us has, that we need to ensure that our children are protected, that our elderly, whether you're in your home, that everybody is on the same page. And when these things happen, nobody is running helter skelter and say, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" The point is, we need to have a family disaster plan, and that's just the family. But not only the family, businesses as well. I mean, we have had the experience of Hurricane Ivan in 2004. And one of the challenges faced then was looting. Looting. I mean, people got so scared and panic that they just take things that they didn't have need of. Yeah. So business places have to ensure staff is secured, to ensure that the goods and items are secured. I mean, we can't just leave it up to the others. Yes, the security forces are going to be there, but I am trying to say to us, it is our responsibility to do what we need to do to protect ourselves. I thought I needed to bring this part in, even as you are talking about what we need to do to be informed and to know where our shelters are, etc. But whatever it is, we need to take responsibility for our actions and take responsibility for our protection. Again, the NADMA system has been reaching out to people. Listen, know where shelters are. You can't wait until the wind starts to blow heavy to ask, where do I go? And so it is about our own personal responsibility. All right, Kennisha, go ahead. I just thought I wanted to bring this part in place. To me, it is so important that we prepare ourselves at all times. Your take. Go ahead.
So you're absolutely correct in this regard. And how much more just put it this way, how much more can we say? How much more can we do to tell persons, please, be proactive, be active. First of all, you should have been proactive from even as soon after burial pass. And start thinking of, and stuff like that. So now is the time for us to put that into action, be active. So at this point, if persons are not, I don't know what to say, I really don't know what to say. But it's, as I said, it's an individual responsibility. It's your responsibility to make sure that you are prepared, to make sure that you are protected, your loved ones are protected. And if you are just in case you are on shore, or you really don't know what to do or what is your next step, I am sure NADMA has offices, or there are offices you can go into the ministry of and so forth, and ask questions that could be answered and give you concrete information that you can use to make sure that you are on the right track. So don't just sit and wait for it to happen. And you, instead of you waiting for the mountain to come to you, you go to the mountain, because you're the one that needs shelter and needs to be protected. So go and try to get that information. It's it's sad, or it will be sad to know another hurricane or a storm, even a storm, would come and do some damage, and persons are not prepared. God forbid that happens, but let's pray. But with this weather pattern, it's very unpredictable. So there isn't much that we can say, but just put the word out there and give this advice. And it might sound a bit monotonous and repetitious, but I'll say it again. I'll break it down into like 4 categories, and I will try to go through it as easy as possible so people could understand. It can stick with you what we are saying here, that okay, yeah, this is what I was told. You know what, let me go do it. So I'm going to go over it again, and as I go over it, try to elaborate a little more. And as I said, stay informed and take action. And by doing this, you could sign up or go, as I mentioned, ask information so that you have information on local emergency alert, and stay informed about hurricane watches and warning. Hurricane watches and warning, I'm going to come in a little later and explain the differences, because there's a difference. Be aware of potential hazards or potential danger, like storm surge, for the people that might live closer to the coastal area, the water lining, like the sea, because I know in Carriacou some people are close to this, especially the tongue area, windward area, and so close to the sea. We have to be also for heavy rainfall, because once we have heavy rainfall and the water is coming, you're going to get a lot of flooding. Be aware for high winds that will come, because those winds are going to come with some strong miles per hour, pushing some heavy miles per hour. Be advised to evacuate. And if you are given a warning to evacuate, don't say, oh, where I'm going, I'm staying in my home. If they tell you to evacuate, it's because it's for a reason. They probably see the danger of what lies ahead of you. So they're saying to you, you need to move away from that. Yes, nobody wants to go away from their home or their property. But at the same time, if it's going to pose a danger to you and your loved ones, and the authority said to you, you have to move, you have to go, you have to seek better shelter, do it. Do so promptly. Follow instructions. Because I understand from Beryl, there were people who were trapped in certain areas because vehicle could not go in because trees fell. So it kind of made it a little more difficult to reach to them. So in order to avoid all these things, all we have to do is follow instructions and obey what they're saying to us. It's not going to be forever. It's just a temporary displacement. And for those who cannot evacuate, or if you choose not to evacuate, make sure you take shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from windows and doors. We have to put that just in case you don't want to leave your home. Make sure you're not in areas that would cause harm to you. Always try to seek or to go to the lowest level of your home for shelter, away from windows and doors. So these are the things that you could do to stay informed and take action. Now I'm going to go back again on the essential supplies. Essential, meaning it's necessary. It's a must to have. Water. Probably now you to go to get your bottles or get some how you call it, buckets with covers, and store up water. Make sure you have sufficient supply of drinking water, at least 3 days serving per person. So now, if I were you, I would start going to the store and buy me a case today, a case tomorrow, and build up and put whatever you could put there in buckets, just in case. Also, make sure you have food, at least 3 days supply of non-perishable food for each family members. So what you probably could do is start alerting 3 days supply, 3 days supply, 3 days supply, and have it someplace that it's not going to get wet in case the rain come and something happen, your roof blow off. Medication. If you are, especially for the persons who have illnesses, who have things like diabetes, high blood pressure, this medication must be taken daily. It's very important. So ensure, go to your doctor to make sure you check your little whatever you have, probably a little bin, a little container with your medication. Make sure you have the medication for that. You have enough medication. Also, over-the-counter medications like painkillers, like ibuprofen, paracetamol, whatever, Fensic, aspirin, those things. Make sure you have enough of those because you might need them. First aid kits. And a first aid kit don't have to be a fancy first aid kit. Make sure it's well stocked with Band-Aid, like the alcohol pad, antiseptic alcohol pad, pain relievers, which is also what I mentioned, and other essential ointments and things like that. Whatever being used, the gauze or the bandage, whatever is being used in case you get a cut, in case you get some small injury, so you could band it up before you seek medical service in the hospital or the health center. Also, personal hygiene items, things like toilet paper, soap, feminine products, toothpaste, toothbrush. Make sure you have those things. Secure them. And again, I know during burial, a lot of these things might have come into the country and was distributed. So if you see yourself having a lot, share with somebody else. This is not a time for us to be selfish. It's a time for us to be each other's brother and sister keeper. It's time for us to be each other's neighbor. So if you think you have a little more than you can use for at least a month, just in case a hurricane happens, give some to somebody you think might not have. We need to be a little more cognizant of the next person and try to make sure we all are safe. This is a collective. Yes, it's an individual responsibility, but also we have to look out for the other person who might not be able to do as much as should be done. I spoke about your emergency supply of your flashlight, your batteries, a battery powered or radio. Also, a can, make sure you have a knife or a can opener. It's very crucial that you have one because you will need it to open canned foods, the canned foods and so forth. So you have one of that. So that's the essential supply part. Now we move into what I would call know the difference between a hurricane watch and a hurricane warning. Know the difference between a hurricane watch and a hurricane warning. And again, listen to the weather service alert, whether it's on TV or radio. Well, in case the wind blowing hard, TV station might cut off. You might not be able to get reception. Depends, but you might have a little radio. You could pick up some places. But these are the things that you have to. And there are two kinds of alerts. There are a hurricane watch and there are hurricane warning. And I just want to kind of explain a little bit. A hurricane watch simply means hurricane conditions. Okay. And most times it's like the winds are like 74 miles per hour or a bit higher sometimes, and hurricane watch usually comes within like a 24 hours before unexpected tropical force winds or a tropical depression or storm or whatever. So you could have winds blowing a sustainable between 39 to 73 miles per hour to start with. So that's a hurricane watch. Now, once that starts to build up past 73, 74 and going higher, then it becomes a warning. It's more serious. Now it's time for us to be even more concerned because once it passes 75 and it's going up and it keeps climbing, next thing you hear the wind goes from 73, 74, 75, 76, then you hear all the way up to 95 miles per hour. We know we're in for problems. It's more serious, and that's where the hurricane warning comes. And this is where NABDA, the government, and everybody will jump into action and say to people, okay, we are on the experiencing hurricane warning, and these are the winds that are coming in, and this is expected to affect this area or whatever it is. And usually hurricane warnings come in within 36 hours before the storm force winds are expected. And that will give people enough time to prepare for the storm or for the hurricane. So always know that once a hurricane goes higher, the winds, not the hurricane, but the winds go higher than 75 miles per hour, that is considered hurricane warning. The watch is just to inform you, okay, something is coming, the winds are like this. So that's to prepare. That's to prepare you that it can go higher. Okay, so we have to be prepared. Know your risk. Hurricanes are not just coastal problem. Know your risk. Make emergency plan. Make sure, as you said before, Coy, make sure everyone in your household knows and understand your hurricane plan. Share it with the elderly to the youngest child. Know your evacuation zone. How you're going to evacuate if you got trapped from where if you're living way up in the bush or way into the interior, come down to lower lands. Try to get sick shelter with somebody else. So know how your evacuation zone and your plan. Recognize warnings and alert. And the last thing I really want to touch on was there was something else I wanted to touch on if my mind can get me there. Yes, but as I said, make sure that you have a solid plan, preparation plan for yourself and your family. These are the things that you would hear all over the place, anywhere, be it in Carriacou, Grenada, here in the US. It's a general hurricane warning and information that you would get to protect yourself, to seek shelter, to figure out ways your shelter, your designated storm shelter, hurricane shelter, protect your property, protect your documents, make sure you have food, make sure you have emergency food and water supply, emergency medication and so forth. And then just in case that something happens, that storm pass, hurricane winds pass, and somebody get injured, try to seek medical attention as fast as possible or quick as possible. So, and also there's going to be power outage. That's what I wanted to talk about. With hurricane and storm, there's going to be power outage. So make sure you have things that is not going to be able to spoil in your fridge because you don't know how long it's going to go for, so things like that. Make sure you have some concrete plans as to how you're going to go along. So that's what I wanted to talk about, the power outage.
Okay. I also, as you mentioned, medication. I'm thinking also that we should identify those people who would need medication. There are people among us within the communities, even in our homes, that we might have the challenge of disabilities. Yes, those who are differently abled. Obviously, they would not be able to move as fast as, or even do the things that we can be expected to do or should be expected to do. So there has to be some kind of support system in place for the elderly. Of course, we understand the value of preparing for them, protecting them. We also have to have some plan in place for people living with disabilities. I call them differently abled. Yes. And these things, we can't overlook those things. We might say, well, I don't need it. No. But we can't, when there's a disaster, when there's hurricane, we don't exactly know all the things that can happen. But what we can do is to prepare ourselves for any eventualities. And that is what the responsibility we have, preparation. As you said a while ago, prepare. I think that is the way out of this situation. We have to know if we have sick in our homes. Obviously the hospital is going to be in the path of the storm as well, and we don't know the damages and damages that can cause. So we have to also get involved in this process. And I don't think, Kennisha, we could overemphasize this fact. We have the responsibility to prepare. Now, if nothing happens, as we're saying, okay, all well and good, but that's just 1 year gone. But every year, this thing happens. So we have to get into the habit and make preparation a way of life, a lifestyle. Prepare for your childhood days. Prepare for your adolescent days. Prepare for your school days. Prepare for your graduation so that you can now start to work. Prepare, because as an adult, you can't be a child anymore. So preparation is so important, and that's what we're talking about, and that's what we want to instill right deep down inside of us, that we have to take the necessary precaution and prepare to protect ourselves. One time there's a program I remember I used to listen to, and in some cases participate. Prepare to prevent. Yes, and we have to take that responsibility. Take that responsibility to get ourselves prepared for any eventualities. And I think, the Lord is good. We're not going to, I would not like to, for us to have a similar experience. If we do, we know what it's like then. If we do, we understand what we should do. Because at the end of the day, and not only during the hurricane, but even after the hurricane, now we are about 11 months away since Hurricane Beryl, and we're still reeling. We're still trying to recover. So it's not just a matter of that moment in time. It is also about long-term futuristic preparation. Because, as I said, we had 11 months ago, and we're still trying to recover. So you could imagine if we had to add any more pressure on that timing and those experiences that we have, it's going to be a lot worse than what we had before. So It is so important that we prepare. And I, of course, the Optimist Show on this podcast, from now until we're going to be doing a reminder every week. Whenever we come on, we remind people. I mean, they might say, "I hear that too much," but no, it is for our own preparation and for our own protection. Your last word.
Well, I agree with you on that. Although a person might say we're hearing that too much, but one of the things that I've found is information is never too much. Information helps to edify and educate you, and information helps to change the narrative and to change the way you think and operate. And on a personal note, personally speaking, I am always happy to get new information, because new information could help me charter a different course of how I want my life to be, what I want to be. I mean, and information changes. It's never the same. It's not stagnant. It's not one way. There's always something coming. So for anyone to say we're tired of hearing this information, we should be happy that we have the information coming out to remind us, just in case we forget. That's why information is for, because at times we do forget. And then when we do hear it, you say, "Oh my gosh, oh my goodness," or I don't want to call the name, but most people will say, "Oh, the G word." I forget everything about that. It's a good thing to say that, then now it reminds me. So information is like a reminder. So even though you heard it 2, 3, 4 times again, sometimes we have so much things going on with us on a daily basis, we tend to forget. I mean, I do. I try to keep a log of things I have to do. And sometimes I completely forget until an email would come up to me and say, "How come you weren't at the meeting? How come you wasn't at the stuff?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I forgot everything about it. But I had it in my stuff. But did I go and look, to see what I have coming up? No, I didn't do that." So if you don't put yourself in that way, that you remind of yourself. So whenever, or for example, another email might come back either from my job or the school and say, "Okay, tomorrow is this," and blasts keep coming. And then with the blast, you can, you say, "Oh yeah, tomorrow is that." And by the time tomorrow comes, another one coming reminding you of the event for today. So it's a constant reminder. It keeps you in the loop. It keeps you in the know-how. So for anyone to think that way, I don't think that should be a positive approach towards it. We should be thankful that the information is there, just in case we forget. We have a reminder, and I'll make it my duty to see how I can be part of this, because even though I'm here in the United States of America, I'm still in Carriacou because I have my dad there. Majority of my siblings are there, and the majority of my family is there. So whatever happens there, ultimately it affects me. So I also have a part to play. And as I can say, and I always tell people, from last burial, I made sure I sent stuff like that had a shelf life of like 2 years. Like medication, antibiotics, first aid, Band-Aid, all things, batteries, a radio, battery operated radio, solar, charging stuff for lighting, lantern. And I made sure I get all those things and send them ahead of time so that my family have it. I ever send solar chargers for the phones and everything like that. So I said, keep it charged and always keep it, a generator and everything like that, so that they have it to make it a little comfortable for them. So I was thinking about, okay, make anything else happen, my family has this as a backup. Much people might not be thinking that way. But these are just information we need to put out so that people can say, oh, yes, I should do this, So I make sure I took the initiative and the step to make sure that my family has this thing just in case. So now they have things that they can look forward to. I even send like plastic binders and all this kind of stuff and things like the bins and everything to store important documents. So it's just in case it would not be affected by water. So these are the kind of things we prepared. This is what I call being proactive. So I just pray that persons will do the same. We still have a few days, even though the hurricane season started, but you still have tomorrow. What will you do tomorrow to make sure that you're prepared? You still have the next day after. What will you do to prepare? So if you haven't used the days that you have coming to do nothing, then you cannot blame no one than yourself. So I just want to leave this day, be prepared, be aware, and be ready to take action.
I like that. It is upon us to take action. And that is the responsibility we have. We have to be accountable for our own actions, for our families' lives, for our families' protection. We have to be accountable. And let's ask ourselves that serious question, even as we close of this podcast. And I want you, wherever you are, to ask yourself this question: what am I doing? And it's a personal question. I mean, it's not about your privacy. But it's a personal question that calls upon all of us to take the necessary precaution to protect ourselves, prepare and protect ourselves. Kennisha, it's always a nice pleasure speaking to you, and I know that we'll continue to have this kind of conversation to keep reminding, and keep supporting people, keep helping them to understand that at the end of the day, it is their responsibility to be prepared at all times. Disasters comes in different forms. It might come in hurricane, it might come in an earthquake, it might come with slides, flooding, whatever. So it is our duty and responsibility to always be prepared. And that's what we want to do here on the Optimist Show podcast, to remind us, help us to know that the things that we need to do, we must do it. Don't just talk about it, but do it so that we can stay alive. And even help others along the way. Be there for the elderly, be there for the babies, the children. Be there for those who are sick. Be there for those who are differently abled. Be there. And let's promise ourselves we're going to be there for ourselves and for others.
Yes, the watchword should be prepared.
Yes, and I still would ask you, it can be too much. I want to give you again the final word, and of course, looking forward to you. I want to give you the final word because, it is so important that we keep hearing it, and of course, hearing it from you as well. So I give you the final word to close up this segment as we continue to keep hope alive.
Friends, family, brothers and sisters, to everyone that would view this podcast in the trial and state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, and if possible, all the other parts of the world, because other people view it in other parts of the world. Please, let us use the watchword, be prepared, as we are now into a hurricane season. It's not that it just starts. We don't know how active this will be. These are very unpredictable storms, natural disasters that we can experience. So all we can tell you, be informed, be prepared, be ready for action, and always have a plan in place. So You hear this podcast, you view this podcast, share it with someone else. Let us all be educated together. Let us all have the same information, and let us all be prepared together to face or withstand whatever comes. So I just leave you with that, and I wish each and every one of you a safe, protected hurricane season the rest of the year. I know soon festivals will be coming home, coming down in Carriacou, Petite Martinique, Grenada. Be safe, enjoy yourself, think about tomorrow, because there's always going to be a tomorrow. Don't just focus on today, but tomorrow. And try to be the best version of yourself that you should be. It's not about anyone else but yourself. So again, Coy, thank you for giving me this opportunity to bring this information to friends, families, to the nation. And to you, the viewers that are going to be viewing, thank you for taking the time to view this podcast, what we just shared. So I wish you all the best. God's blessing, Godspeed. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and remember to be each other's neighbor, each other's brother and sister's keeper. Let us look out for each other. Let love be the catalyst that help us to be able to ride the storm together. I thank you.
Certainly, we thank you. We thank you. And we'll continue to share information so that we can be prepared for whatever eventualities. Kennisha, thank you again. And of course, we are on this end. We are preparing ourselves. And of course, you on your end, we also want you to be prepared for whatever eventualities. It may come in different ways, different forms, but be prepared yourself. So I thank you. I want to thanks for your commitment to this cause. All the best.
Yes.
It's estimated 1 in every 10 people in Grenada have the sickle cell trait. Having the trait does not mean you are sick or unhealthy. Very healthy people have the trait. Unfortunately, many of these people are unaware that they carry the trait. You see, when 2 people with the trait have a child, there is a 1 in 4 chance that the child will be born with the sickle cell disease. That is why it is important to know if you have the trait. Sickle cell is associated with life-threatening conditions, and it can be very painful. You see, the body's red cells can pass freely through the arteries and veins, but the sickled cells can get stuck, and this is what causes pain. This disease, you cannot catch it from someone. It is inherited. You are born with the trait or the full-blown disease. It comes from your parents. So let's talk sickle cell and what it is about and what can be learned about it and how to live with it. Let's all make better decisions about our family's health by learning the facts and getting tested. A message from the Sickle Cell Association of Grenada. Please call 458-6399 or email us at grenadasc@gmail.com.
Thank you for joining the Optimist Show. Please let us know what you think by leaving a comment and giving us a thumbs up and subscribing, and of course spreading the word. You can always rely on the Optimist Show to deliver accurate information. And guess what? I'll see you on the next show. We shall run, oh, run, and we shall grow stronger than before. We shall run, oh, run, and we shall go further than you